About our team where we're at, obviously what our record is 3-2, obviously, but you can't really tell that by the way our kids have been, putting the effort and the time and the practice. I've been really pleased for the last 5 weeks, the way they've been practicing and the way they go about their business. And you can go all the way back to camp and the 4 weeks that we were in the camp. So I'm very pleased where we're at. I think we got a lot of young guys that are growing in their positions, and they're learning on the run. And I think this is a good break over here to reevaluate some of our players and some of our schemes, and then move on to the next one in Wisconsin in a week from now, or less.
Chad.
Chad Lysico, Des Moines Register. You've been blitzing, it seems like more, especially the last couple of weeks, big games. Why is that, and what's that done for you?
Well, I think, you look at different situations, and it's depending on, who you're sending on a blitzer. That's Warren Parker always used to say, it's not about the blitz, it's about the guys that you're sending. We have probably brought more blitzes in different situations on second down maybe that I'm, haven't really done in the past, but I think it's helped us a little bit and keep the quarterbacks a little bit off balance and uncomfortable. But when you blitz, you got to make sure that you cover guys, and sometimes it can get you if you blitz. Sometimes it can hit you one play like it did last week, and so but you got to live with that. You got to live with it. Say, hey, the success that you had, we blitzed on a couple 4th down and 1, and we won a couple of those. I think it was 3 of them. So there's a trade-off. You know what I mean? And the same thing with coverages in the back end. If you want to play press coverage or if you want to play too high in a shell, what do you want to do? Do you want to let them move the ball down slowly, or 4 or 5 plays and all of a sudden they hit a big play, and then hopefully you can hold them to a field goal. So the philosophies hasn't really changed about the explosive plays. I think we've probably given up too many explosive plays so far, and I mean 25 or more. So we're still working on that and trying to make sure that everything's important, every play is important, and the kids got to understand that.
Tyler Tashman with the Des Moines Register. I wanted to piggybacking off of that, the call on it was a 3rd and 10 from the Iowa 49, and decided to bring the pressure. I know that had generated Zach's pick earlier in the game, but can you kind of just walk through the decision-making process in bringing pressure in that situation?
It's usually a fill in the game of how we're going about things, and I did bring the pressure on. The other one got the interception on it, but it was a time where, hey, it's either they're getting a little bit close to kick a field goal, the time's starting to run a little bit down. I thought we had to hurry up and make a decision on, hey, put a little bit of pressure on the quarterback, see if we can get it out. Are they going to punt it after that? And and it's just it was just a little bit. That's the way those things are. It's I wouldn't say all or nothing, but I mean you got to make sure you're perfect, and you always go back and second guess yourself like that. I just remember one time and said, hey, we can go the other way and play 2-man and play 2 over the top, and I did that probably 2 years ago. I did that, and all of a sudden I went for a straight touchdown over the top, and then I said, well, why didn't I bring the blitz? You know what I mean? Everybody's really good after the conversation, on the headsets or whether it's in the newspaper or whatever. It's always, hey, second guess, you know what I mean? So, that was my thought process, is like, hey, let's put some pressure on him. This is a good quarterback. I think we had him rattled a little bit as far as what he does, and I don't know, we held him to 20 points and 200-some yards. I think they were averaging 300 yards rushing and 280 in the passing game, But that doesn't anything. We lost the game, so that's the only score that really matters, But that was my thought process about it.
Sorry, Jack.
I know, Jack Nader with KCRG. Back to general blitz philosophies there. How do you decide, basically, you're mixing and matching who's going to be the 5th or 6th rusher? We've seen Jaden Harrell come from the field side, or Jaden Harrell up the middle, Xavier blitzing, Cohen blitzing. What's the rhyme and reason behind that?
Well, it's obviously we spent some time in this building preparing for that, and we're always looking for answers like, hey, how can we get some pressure on these guys to make sure that in certain down and distance, we break it down all the way to the 3rd downs and then the 2nd downs. And what we try to do is figure out how can we put pressure on them and how can we get there? Some of the pressures that we call sometimes might not get there. You have to adjust. So we work on that during the week. We have a set plan of, you know, hey, the ideas that come in with our staff, and everybody's involved that's in our staff, and we talk about it, and so we have a plan to go through it, and then, you know, later in the week as you're going through and preparing, you try to see what ones that you feel is the best ones, and that's when you call them, you know. I guess, you know, I don't go in there and say, hey, I want to call bad blitz, you know, but usually what happens, though, we're pretty good about, you know, adjusting those blitz. You could call something and they could check to another thing, or the pattern could change. So there's a lot of different things that can change based on the way they line up. So, and who's where.
Hey Phil, LA Club Hawkeye Insider. Wanted to ask about the 3 linebackers, Jaden Harrell maybe specifically, but are you happy, satisfied with the way they've played so far this season? And I know Jaden Montgomery got in and sent him on a blitz right away. And I guess what were you thinking about his play in the little bit that he's been able to see the field?
You know, he's been doing a good job, and you know, Montgomery's been doing a great job in practice, and he knows the system, and he's a hard worker. You know, his dad's a coach, you know, so his dad played here. I mean, he has all the buy-ins as a player in defense, and he really like and enjoy that. But when Harold went down, he's been doing a great job of understanding what we have to do and making sure that the frontage adjusts the way it should be, and I think he's been doing a good job. And you know, Carson, I think he's really done some good things for us too at the Wilbacker. So, you know, all those guys, you know, they're growing. They're still young, and there's not a lot of playing time as far as like a full time when it's meaningful doing a game. And I think they've done a great job. And Seth has, you know, obviously got them in the right direction.
Mitch picked KJ in, just going off that, you know, with the new linebacking core, you know, filling the gap that Wyatt leaves, Cohen getting an expanded role, Xavier moving over. Just through 5 games, the defense of its entire unit, are they on schedule in terms of expectation? Just evaluate them overall of where they are, considering there's a lot of new variables.
Well, like I said earlier, I'm really pleased the way they're going about their business, and the work ethic that they do in practice, the preparation in the building here, what they do, and it's all been positive, and that's the thing you really enjoy. And you're going to see, you know, I've seen growth already in the first 5 games, and I expect more, you know, as we go through it, and as they play more. Obviously, they see things more. And it's just even the last game, they come back and they can see things like this. Hey, coach, now I know what you're talking about. I can see it. So the more reps they get, it's hard. You know, when you're pursuing to the ball, the angles changes all the time. And you know, we've obviously been working on some. You know, we've missed some tackles, and we've been trying to work on that. And it's not easy to try to tackle it. There were good running backs, and being more consistent of how you get there, the sense of urgency, the angles that you take, and make sure that you eliminate those missed tackles or explosive plays.
Madison Wright, the Gazette. First off, nice to meet you. I wanted to ask a little bit about the turnovers. Getting back-to-back turnovers in the last 2 games. I know there's 4 games where there wasn't a turnover generated. What did you see, if you saw a switch between those first 4 games without a turnover and then these 2 back-to-back games with an interception?
Yeah, it's very interesting. You talk about when you play a little bit more man coverage, a little bit more press coverage, you get less eyes on the ball. And, you know, we're probably playing a little bit more press, a little bit more man at times. And when you do that, you're not looking at the ball. And when you play more zone, you got more guys looking at the ball, and you can see it and have better opportunities for interceptions. When you're playing bump and run, or where you're playing some type of man-to-man, it's usually you're still playing tight coverage that you might get more pass breakups, but not more turnovers. So that's kind of a thing we've been working on, but we've always been working on the turnover circuit that we have at the beginning of practice. And I think eventually what it is, and turnovers come as you graduate, they'll come to you if you're doing what you're supposed to do. And, you know, obviously we want more takeaways, you know, but you stop somebody sometime on 4th down, that's like a takeaway, you know, as I look at it, you know. So there's different ways to look at it and different philosophies, you know, but obviously I think we're low in takeaways too.